then obviously humans would never seek jobs then. Only the ones who maybe like what they do, like maybe it's fun for them or artistic, would do it. But they would all just stay home or do something else, right? Because they don't need to survive making money, correct? So that's actually another way God created mankind, in a way that for human beings, they need to survive by making money, which involves others. You cannot do it by yourself. People are either buying from you. Basically, we're always trading. We're always doing business with each other in order to make a living. Even if you're an employee, you're doing business with the employer, right? You give them labor, they give you money. So that's a way for God to also keep you humble as a creation, so you don't ever go and get misguided from God, get misguided from your nature as a creation, right? Creation means weak. Only the Creator is powerful. By Him creating you with qualities that's always reminding you that you're a creation, always reminding you that you're weak. The fact that you're just gonna die if you don't make money, if you have no food, like that. But what if God created us in a way that we don't need that stuff? Then people would isolate from each other, right? They would disconnect as a species. They wouldn't need a job. So then what other consequence would that have? One, they would not connect as a community, right? They would just isolate. Okay, two, the other one I was talking about earlier, where then they don't need a job. Okay, so what does it mean if you don't need a job? That means you don't need to behave. You don't need to be behaving morally. It doesn't mean you're moral. Behaving morally. Good, normal, healthy, humane conduct. Correct? Because you don't need to do that to have a job. You can just make money or have a job or live and survive without others judging your character judging your behavior in order to then give you the job or let you keep the job. So then evil humans every day, no matter their level, right, of evil in their heart, would just go, which is basically what 90-something% of the human race, they just go every day in their jobs and do bad things. The world would not then continue, right? The species would go extinct because the mailman, the cashier, the police officer, the doctor, the nurse, the lawyer, the judge, what are the other jobs? The data entry clerk, the hotel workers, the food, the cooks, right? The chefs, everyone, right? Those who work to keep the environment clean, whatever job you're thinking of, everyone would just do bad because their heart is bad. They're jealous, so they're just gonna act jealous to that coworker. They're gonna always take things in a personal way. They're gonna live from the way they feel, which they feel hatred and envy, right? And their emotions would control them to make them do bad every day. And okay, now the business fails, and that business was a service to humanity, right? I know it just seems like business, like just money, but don't we survive as a human species because of business, right? It doesn't matter if the business is being done by a company, right? A large group of humans coming together or an individual. Either way, we're all surviving, as in like food, shelter, home, everything. We're surviving because someone produced something that gives you shelter, that gives you food, that gives you water. You get me? So for that reason, if there's no business, then there's no survival. Okay, that humans not only would go extinct, but there would be too much evil. Too much evil. So you think humans are very good. You think they're very moral. No, they're not. They're very evil. The average person is perverted as hell. You know, they've committed a lot of evil things to others behind your back. Maybe they molested or raped somebody in their family that's a kid or what. You don't know. But every day they get up, put on their uniform, go to a job. You don't know they just stole money yesterday. You get me? You don't know they just hit someone with a car or something. You don't know what they've done because they can just hide it, right? If witnesses were not there, they can just hide it and go to their job every day and pretend to be a good or normal person in their company or whatever, and people will give them money. They'll live. They hide their evil in their heart. They hide the envy in their heart by just the fact that just naturally, if you behave, people don't care about what's in your heart, correct? Okay. So then you're always going to see mainly normal, conduct from humans who have jobs. So you're just gonna then think humans are moral. No, that's the only way to keep their job. They misbehave, they get fired, right? So that's confusing you. That's making it hard for you to understand why humans don't like God, or they don't respect and follow prophets and people God sends down for them, when those people actually come down. Why did then all of a sudden that's sort of the time they all seem to fight with the good that God sends them? But then in their mosques and churches and in their governments today, they all act like they love God, they respect God. All your presidents will always mention God at some point. Everyone, see, in their words, they're going to act like they're good, they're moral, they value laws and honor and blah, 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 blah. But then if I tell you in human history, when the truth always came down, the majority said no, and they became a problem, and they started wars. You're going to then have a hard time understanding that, right? Because you think these humans of today's time would love to have someone come down from God that helps them create moral, just laws and ways of living. No, they're going to be the same as the past ones. It's that person who always acted in a good, behaving way, that used to say hello to you every day, right? Who has a job, whether it's your landlord, the mailman who passed by you. It's always those humans who used to pass by you, who just, exactly, you don't think they're evil, correct? Unless you just know that naturally. They're all of a sudden going to be, a huge percentage is going to come from them, and they're just not going to be happy. And you're thinking, what? I could never assume that person would want to be moral or follow moral ways, because you think evil is far away. No, evil is right next to you. It's the average person walking by. They're so evil. And some of the things they go against hurts themselves. Right? At some point, females would go against. When I say against, I just mean they're not happy, you know? At some point, females will be against some of the laws of morality that honors and protects their gender when the truth comes down. You know? If Prophet Jesus ever came down, Noah, Abraham, they're going to tell you things that would honor everybody. Okay, so then he would give rights to females, for example. But there's always, then, you're going to be confused if you were able to go back in time and see what those humans did. It wasn't just males, obviously. Evil is in both genders. You're going to be like, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't a female want to have rights and be protected? Here we go. And be protected from the right of the evil males that like to abuse them? So you're not going to understand at some point what they're going against. You can understand maybe if she's against that type of law, don't cheat, don't lie, right? Because she lies. But then you're going to be like, wait a minute. That one said a male can't beat her. He can't control her. She should be happy with that. Why is she defending the sexist way that, right, was there prior, which a lot of Muslim females do today? They defend the sexism against themselves. They'll fight with you as if their life depends on it. And you're thinking, what? Shouldn't she be happy? You know? Why would she be happy? Did I not just say human beings have, right, a heart? A heart has either love or hate in it, and they have a mind. And they either choose to agree with evil or not. So if they were already comfortable and happy with sexism and perversion in this religion, like the majority of Muslim females and Christian females, and these people actually just sort of obsessed and just obey everything in their religion, why is it confusing if someone was sent by God and said, hey, you guys are the worst of the creation, you're all going to go to hell? God is not okay with this. Those of you who haven't done some crime that right now we would kill you for, but you just believed in this nonsense, you have a choice to repent now, and we're going to change this entire country. We're going to change this world. These are the laws now of God. Who wants to follow? Because obviously God doesn't force his religion on you. He just brings a person down to simply tell human beings, this is the way. That's evil, duh, obviously. Who wants to follow me? Who wants to work with me? You get me? It's a cooperation. We're a community. We work together. God doesn't bring you someone to just, you know. No, it's your choice. That community wants it. They're good. The person, God will tell that person, whoever the leader is in the future, to go to that community because they are happy to have someone guide them from God himself on how to make their world, their country or city or whatever moral. Okay, but if this community is like no, like Muslims, a lot of their countries would be like no. Well, then the person's gonna leave them. He's not gonna force them. It's just it's just gonna protect those who they like to abuse within their countries, right? That don't want that. For that person's obviously gonna be like, you guys come with me. We'll go somewhere else. God is not a dictator. He doesn't force. He just tells you what's right and what's wrong. He gives you what your rights are. You obviously have the right to defend yourself. You're not gonna ask for permission, right? To kill a murderer. If he's trying to kill you that moment, you're going to have to use self-defense. We're not talking about that kind of situation. Well, you don't need their permission, goodness, to agree with the fact that murder is bad. No, as a society, it's up to them what laws they have, right? Because they're consenting to it. They're consenting to victimize and violate and harm themselves, correct? You're not going to be able to force them then, because force is evil. Get it? Force. And forcing people, the act of forcing, is actually evil. You get me? So that's why leaders of God are not going to force anything. Because they get it. Okay. Whoever wants morality, whoever wants good, that's who's just gonna follow them. And those humans are gonna become a community, make beautiful laws. The others get to watch how wonderful and happy and civilized those people are in their countries. They're human, right? Obviously, at any point, evil could just exit their heart and they could just be like, what's wrong with me? Let me go there, man. That's fun. And they might just want to go there now and stop violating and harming themselves under these sexist, perverted, nasty ways they like to live under these corrupted books of God, right? They might just be like, duh, let me go over there. See, since those people are people of God, they're good, right? They're better than these ones. Because what makes you better than people? Love. Okay, you being loving. So they're going to accept them. They're going to be like, sure, join us. See? Are they not better? Are they not better? Because you're expecting them to be like, you rejected us before, you were mean to me, I'm not going to accept you into my country, into my land, or no. You get me? That the people of God would only punish you for bad things you do to people. They're just. But if you want to change, right? They're happy to accept you to change. You get me? They're happy for you. So that's what I'm saying. So if right, the groups of Muslims and Christians and other religions who go against the truth that's going to come down soon, if one day they're like, we repent, we're the worst of God's creation, we repent, right? And they go on their knees and they're like, how could we have done the same thing our ancestors did? We knew what people did to Prophet Muhammad and Prophet, so-and-so and Prophet so-and-so. We knew. How could we do this to the next leader that God sent down? The same psychology is here. They're obviously usually against us, We forgot this time we were the ones that they're against. So maybe that is the reason we didn't agree. We were on the evil side. What's wrong with us? Just like we knew every time a prophet was sent down, whoever he went to, that moment was worshiping him was corrupted. At this point, we were like that. We Muslims of today were also corrupted. And that's why someone had to come down again to stop us. How could we not see the pattern? Duh. I mean, they obviously know they're evil. I don't want you to think evil thinks it's correct. I don't want you to think Muslims today who are sexist and perverted think they're right. They're human, goodness. We all have a conscience. They know they're evil. I mean the psychology. You get me? The fact that it's always those who claim to be from God that are always the actual corrupted ones when it comes to morality. And they're always going to be the problem. That's obviously a choice for them to admit to the fact that there's a cycle going on. There's a pattern going on. They just know they're evil. They know what they're practicing. Obviously, it's not moral. It's not from God. They're human like you and I. They feel emotions. They feel things. So since they have emotion and they're not an object, that Muslim male is not going to hear someone telling them, oh, you female, your husband can rape you and beat you. Oh, you can't do anything without your brother or father or some male. You're obviously nothing. You're not a human. You're not an adult by yourself. You need a male to always control and guard you like some guardian. And oh, you the male, you're the guardian. You're the God. If there was someone other than God that she's supposed to prostrate to, it would be you. They actually say that nonsense. They actually act like a wife would actually prostrate to a husband if God was okay with it. Oh, Lord, have mercy. You get me? When a human hears that, since they're human like you and I, they have a heart, they have a mind. I just told you those were created by God to always see evil from good. They're never going to be dumb or weird or biased. They're always going to know, because they have the ability to feel. So they can put themselves in that situation, right? The perspective of being abused, and they're going to be like, hell no. You know? Okay, so then when they're told to abuse others, like when a male who's Muslim is told to abuse someone, like a wife, then he's going to be like, hell no. You get me? Because he just put himself in that perspective. Not just the act of abuse being bad. That's about morality. Okay, but what's the other reason he would conclude that's wrong? He just put himself in that perspective. He's human, she's human, right? So, okay, these humans obviously are created by God, just like people who are righteous, and even when religion is corrupted, always are good. It doesn't matter what you tell them about God. They have the same abilities as those people. They're just bad people. They just choose to be bad. So bad means you don't honor yourself. Okay, so since bad means you don't honor yourself, and that's why you don't care about honoring others, because you don't even have the ability to honor yourself, then it makes sense why humans agree to things that objectify them. Because you think they just like to objectify others. No, we're connected. Get it? God created us in a way where we need each other in that sense as a species. We're connected. So you cannot be evil in a way that you're okay with others being abused, and that makes you evil, but you honor and love yourself. Impossible. So evil humans, bad humans, anyone who has any quality that's not pure and loving, they don't honor themselves. You get me? They don't mind if someone speaks down to them or disrespects them or beats them up. It doesn't mean every time they're going to be okay with you beating them up, right? It's just they don't mind. They don't see that as a filthy thing. Okay, so then they could do that to others. So because they don't honor themselves, they're not going to be able to connect with you as a righteous leader of God who comes to them and says, this is how it's going to be. You guys are not going to do this nonsense anymore. They don't know how to connect with them anymore because the heart and the mind that were created pure by God is now darkened. How can they connect? It's dark. You know, it's just hatred. They hate themselves. They don't mind if that person who's married to them always speaks condescending and disgusting and sexist to them every day. Because they don't even have, they don't want to use their qualities God created in them of that heart, right, and the mind to feel and to think how hurtful that was and how evil that was, because they never left that home. That female Muslim is always married to that male. Generation after generation, they never as a gender come together, right, who are just Muslim females and say, what the hell is this nonsense that only we have to live with? This is not our God. And we don't even care if it's from God. Let's go. They don't have enough love for themselves. And that's not obviously specific to Muslims. It's other humans, those ones usually may not use religion. They just might use something else. Indians usually are seen as using culture, but it's also their religion. Hinduism is where that comes from. Their sexist backward culture comes from religion too. Okay, and you might be like, oh, Europeans really are not like that. They're doing a good job. They may not use religion, all of them, right, except the ones who like to say they believe in everything, right, those sort of extreme Christians. The ones, right, who don't necessarily follow the Bible like that, well, they're obviously in abusive, domestic, violent type of situations, right, like that. So they're going to follow that way where they dishonor themselves in such situations, but just not because of religion. They're going to just do that simply from the way they were raised, you know, trauma, the way they were just told to just not honor themselves anyway. So there's other ways to get to that point. Because evil is just evil. It just means they were just trained to be evil, and they're just like, okay. They don't want to use the heart, and they don't want to use the mind. That's always screaming and yelling for help. Get me out. I'm in pain. That's how God proves to you, shows you he's not evil. The way he created your heart and mind to scream for help when others say they're going to treat you this way or treat you that way. Okay, the devil observes that. He's like, wait a minute, that's true. Let me flip it. Then he brings the evil ones, get it? The ones who are following these evil parts of religion, like, I'm going to focus on Muslims again, or the Christians who act like the raped victim of female should go and somehow be with the rapist. They call it marriage. Can you believe this nonsense? That's trafficking and abduction and kidnapping, and then more rape. Guess what they say? It's these same wicked ones again. They're going to then say, right, their demons are going to then be like, that's true. The heart and the mind are the two organs in the human being that, one, right, prove that they're not an object, right, because they can feel and think. An object cannot do those two things. And It's not just a random feeling and thinking. That feeling and thinking also helps them to figure out what's moral and what's not. Because, right, it helps them to put themselves in a perspective. Someone beats someone in front of them and says, this is good, this is love. Okay, their heart and mind is created to say, what? Because they felt pain when they saw that person get beat up in the heart section, okay. And then in the mind, they were thinking, oh my God, this is bad, this is abusive, this is hurtful, it's not fair. Oh, see, two organs are fighting against what they were just told, right? Which is what the devil does. He lies to you, which manifests or comes out as humans lying to you who use religion, okay. Or whether they use governments, maybe, whatever their sort of source is. When you're told something, right, that's a lie, your heart and mind is going to scream. Okay, but the demons observed that. They've been here since Adam and Eve. They observe the way God created them and us. And they're like, you're right. That's what righteous people usually told you is the way that you know what God believes too. Because, right, why would he create those two organs? To do that for you, right? To go against what you saw. But then he tells you it's okay to treat each other badly. Why would he create you then with the ability to feel and think that it's wrong? You get me? That's the evidence, then that's not from God then. So they're thinking, oh, then let's flip it. Reverse psychology. They're going to tell you, as they possess a religious preacher or anyone, maybe they're just using government this time, they're going to act like they somehow are the leader of you as a species, right? Like presidents do today. They like to act like they can make decisions on abortion, and then they're going to act like, if I was elected, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. Well, if the baby is in 9 months, and if it's like the 3rd trimester, well, that's murder. But who are you to make that decision? Aren't you just one male, one human in the human race? Why are you talking as if your opinion is somehow the actual moral system? No one ever thinks about that. If a random male on YouTube made that comment, people would say, we don't care. You're not God, obviously. But if it's their president, then they think what he says is moral. And if they disagree with him, maybe God will kill them. What? Why are you connecting him to God? Why don't you judge him the same way you judge others? Why are you scared that maybe God actually thinks it's murder? It's not. It doesn't matter what stage it is. You can do abortion at any stage. Because otherwise you're saying something that's evil to do to someone, right? To force something to be in their body that has no right to be there, such as from rape. You're acting as if then it's okay. So something you believe, then God believes, and you know innately is wrong to be in their body because that's a violence and harm to them and filth and doesn't belong, that has no business with them, like poison, that you're going to think, well, that's why we're trying to get it out. Has no right to be there, and it shouldn't be there. And if it was there, that person is being abused and harmed and violated and destroyed by God himself and everyone and us. And obviously we're not going to advocate for evil. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to take it out. Oh, wait. This is the 8th month. So this evil thing that we were going against is no longer evil because this is the time limit. What? If it's her right to do it because what was done to her is evil and filth, and you're supposed to then do the right thing by taking it out of her body, then why at some point would it be immoral to take it out of her body? It's immoral to keep it in the body. So it doesn't matter what stage you take it out. It's always going to be immoral that it's in the body. So take it out no matter when. So when the devil cannot at least fight with you that something is good or bad, humans at least choose to agree that she has the right to at least do it. Okay, then they're going to at least limit her in the time, the months, the whatever. And it's similar to how Muslims, the other sexism and perversion in Islam that says females cannot travel alone. They fight. After hundreds of years, they get to the point of saying, she can travel. Because obviously, we're human. We have to travel. We got to do this, blah, blah, blah. They start to act like they're using logic all of a sudden. What happened to the logic billion or 100 years ago, huh? Okay, and then now they're going to then limit morality. You get me? If the devil has to agree to some aspect of the morality, then he's going to limit it at some point. Because he just doesn't want you to completely do the 100% moral thing. So then he's going to say, 3 days is the maximum. She cannot travel more than 3 days by herself. You get me? He just hates it. He just hates that you just do the right thing 100%. So he's going to stop you at some point. It's like giving someone food because someone told you to give them food, and you were saying, no, I'm not going to give you food. And your manager came to the room and they're like, how dare you? This is our customer. Give them their food. And the manager maybe left, right? They're not watching you anymore. And now you're like, ha ha ha, they're not watching me anymore. And now you harass them with some aspect of the food. You take some out. You lie. When the person says, I saw everyone have the potato. Why did you take my potato out? This is actually how it is. Blah, blah. You just have to make nonsense up. Because you think no one, right, who has the right to tell you what to do, right, is there. Guess why the human race, the ones who are evil, always fight with you on your human rights like abortion? Because there is no person from God who has authority over them that has the right to tell them what to do who's here. They're not here. So when they come down, guess what their demons possess them to say about that person? They always say you're not from God. They always say you're not the person Prophet so-and-so told us would come down. For example, when Jesus was here, he told the human race that a man would come after him called Ahmed. Ahmed is another name for like Muhammad. So he already told you Muhammad was coming. Prophet Muhammad, when he came down, he told Muslims, someone who's not a prophet is going to come down, but they're going to guide you all. They said that person is Mahdi. Okay. There you go. God will always give you a chance to always fight against the liar, which is the devil. It's just at some point going to come out of humans lying, you know? You just can't see the devil. He told you that God will never hide from you that another leader is coming. And there you go. If the prophet just said some leader is coming, Muslims will be confused. So at least the prophet, God did not allow the devil to hide from Muslims the part that the prophet said, that person has to be someone who's not a prophet. They're a leader. Okay, so guess then what happened? So then guess what happened? God have mercy. I'm sorry, there's just someone making noise around me. I'm gonna wait. So yeah, God Almighty allowed, right, the devil to do what he always does with the extra power he has to lie about people God sends to guide you on what God's perspective is on right versus wrong and everything else in life. There's some truth that the devil obviously will not be allowed to corrupt, right? So that then obviously you have something, right? And there's some that then he's going to be allowed to corrupt. He was not able to corrupt that there's a leader coming. The most important quality about them is that they're not a prophet. Because then exactly, right, as I was saying, the prophet just said, oh, someone else will just come after me. But he doesn't tell you that obviously, hey, everybody, just be warned. They're not a prophet. I'm the last prophet. Then what would happen? Muslims would just assume that it's a prophet, correct? Okay, so when the person actually does come down and that person introduces themselves and says, I am actually from Allah. Yes, I'm just like Prophet Jesus. I'm just like Prophet Muhammad, but I'm not a prophet. I'm not a Nabi. Nabi means prophet in Arabic. So, you get me? Then people are going to be like, we don't really feel comfortable believing and following you. You see? So in order for God to protect you from not following the person he's actually sending you, he always makes sure, because he's a good and just God, that the qualities about them and the information about them that is the most essential is not corrupted. Just the details, the devil is allowed to corrupt that. You know, sort of like maybe where they're going to come out of, what country, what place. They always say things like Mahdi is going to run to Saudi Arabia because they're going to be persecuted everywhere they go. What? Why would they go to the place that... Because these Muslims are the hypocrites. They're acting as if their religion is not corrupted. So they have to say the next leader of the world. They're just going to act like, right? Whatever. They're just going to say the next leader from God before Jesus. They believe is going to be a person that comes before Jesus. Therefore, they're going to lie to you and say, right, when this leader comes down, that they're going to come to them, the Muslims. But since I'm telling you Islam is corrupted, and I'm telling you, therefore, the Muslims who follow the bad parts of Islam obviously are evil, and they're going to go to hell, right? So, except, right, obviously, in certain situations, whoever repents gets a chance to, you get the point. The way they are now, they're going to go to hell if they die right now. So, then what does that mean? If you and I and everyone, we were to all sit down and you all agree and see that, obviously, this religion is corrupted because, right, obviously, evil is in it. If you get me, what would you conclude? Whoever God, which to Muslims is Allah, whoever God sends down again after Prophet Muhammad would actually get away from Muslims. They're never going to go to Saudi Arabia. They're never going to go to the Middle East. They're going to be somewhere else. Guess where there's probably going to be the most civilized sort of places, which cannot be a place of Christianity either. They're not going to practice Christianity either. Because, right, that's also God's religion is just corrupted earlier Islam, and it's going to have all the perversions and sexism and filth that Islam has to some degree, and therefore the person's going to run away from that either. So they're not going to go to churches or anything like that. Guess then what type of non-Muslim country it's going to be? The ones who don't make their laws based on the Bible, based on the Christianity. They're just sort of separate from church from state, which, right, you could agree today a lot of countries do that. So that's where they're going to be most safe and most comfortable. And that's where God is going to keep them. You're just not going to know where it is. How many countries are in this world, right, that we would say are not Muslim? So I promise you, God is not going to put this person in a Muslim country. He's going to take them out if they were maybe born into it, etc. Because obviously everyone knows this person will be a Muslim, which is important, right? Because then they know Muslims very well. They know the religion of God very well. So it's easy for them to then lead very well, right? It's better that the person is born into the religion of God. So yeah, there's some details about Mahdi, but then there's some details that are corrupted. That's what I'm saying. But if you use your mind, it even says, the story about Mahdi, it says that Muslims will figure it out. People, even probably non-Muslims, will figure it out. You get me? The person is not going to come and tell people, hey, everybody, I'm actually the next leader of the world, right, of religion. They're not going to tell you that, technically. It's possible they will, and that part is taken out. But as they're probably figuring that out, the most important thing that Islam right now says, the corrupted Islam, the way Islam is right now, the information it has about this leader that's coming, is it says that humans will just figure it out that this person is Mahdi. You get me? It doesn't say that Mahdi is going to tell them. So what does that then mean? God is always leaving some information for you. If you use your mind, that's probably likely, that as they're sort of going through persecution, as they're sort of going through things, the Muslims who want to use their mind are going to connect the dots. Okay, so that's probably true, But if you were to see the other areas of this character's life, they say things like, he's going to come from the Arabs. Well, if you think about it, that may not be true, because God likes to show his creation. He's not biased, right? He's not racist, obviously. He created everyone. So probably, keyword probably, they're going to come from another race, just so God can uplift every race and not make one feel, right, that he's obviously going to always send leaders from one group. That's not normal. God sent prophets and messengers of all races and ethnicities. It's just, ethnicity is kind of awkward. We don't know that. But let's just say from all races. At least we know that 100%. So, so those are the areas that you might then say, maybe not. Maybe they're not going to be from the Arabs. Like that. You just have to think. It just may not be the way. Two, another way you might think they're not necessarily going to come from the Arabs is because the Arabs right now are sort of the extremists of the Muslims, because Islam spread to others, like Africans. Okay, so the ones we would say really practice Islam too extremely, right? Everything almost, right? Because the religion is corrupted, has so much evil, are the Arabs. Okay, and see, that's because they're the prophet's people. The devil likes to then target generation after generation, your people, whichever race or you came from a group. He likes to target that, right, as a leader who is now gone. And he likes to make them the worst. You get me? I sort of like a way to mock the way things used to be, right? Because they were doing so much good before. So, right? Right, obviously for that reason, whoever is the next leader is definitely not going to go to the Middle East or go anywhere near Arabs, because they're going to be the extremists to them. They're going to be the extremists. They're going to be like, our prophet is obviously a great man. We're not going to follow you because you're different than them. God have mercy. It's just the most funniest story. Just please Google or YouTube Mahdi, their story, and Jesus, and you're going to see the connections. You're going to have a lot of big questions about these two leaders that are coming. And you're going to see the areas where you should think And the areas you can probably agree that who knows, maybe that's possible. You just don't know, right? It didn't happen yet. But that is how God will guide you to see how He's moral, and He created you to use your heart and your mind. The areas you're going to have a question are the areas where there's just ambiguity, you don't know. And the areas where you're going to be like, hell no. It's going to be the areas where you think something is unjust, because that's how God created you, to ultimately find the answer. You know? You're not going to question everything they say. How? Why? We don't know anything, so why do we only question certain things that people tell us about people? Because God created our innate nature to just question more, even though we don't know anything. Question more and go against more the area that seems, question more and go against more certain areas of a story, because that's actually the part that's really a lie. Okay, but if the human beings of that time are evil and immoral, like the Muslims who are here today, the ones who really practice the religion the way it is, well, they're gonna obviously have their demons use reverse psychology again. They're gonna be like, their demons are gonna be like, oh, that's true. That's a very intelligent, analysis. Let me do reverse psychology. They're then going to use the fact that Muslims just believe everything about Mahdi the way it is, believe everything about Prophet Muhammad the way it is, which are corrupted, right? Their stories are corrupted. There's some truth, there's some false. They're going to use the fact that, right, the Muslims believe those stories to be a certain way, the future, what's going to happen to be a certain way. The fact that Muslims just believe it, right? There's no Muslims that sort of disagree. They're going to use the fact that then that must be that, then it's true. So they're going to use the fact that I just told you God created your mind to question certain things more, because that is the area that is 100% corrupted, or 100% is not fair, 100% not moral, and other things you're going to question it just a little bit because it's not necessarily immoral, but it's more like factual. You just don't know. It could be this or that. You get me? Muslims don't question anything now because they're evil. Christians don't question anything now because they're evil. Only the ones who go against these religions, who are in it, who are, moral, are the only ones who will then have questions, and they're all going to be different levels of morality. Not all of them are, right, agreeing on certain aspects of morality. It's just some. You get me? You might find two people who are from these two religions. Let's say two Christians and two Muslims. These four people tell you they go against their religions. Okay, but then when you ask them what they go against, they still might be immoral too. Because they just may go against one thing, but not another thing that's immoral. So they could also still be immoral. So that's what I mean. Different levels of morality. Okay. So for that reason, the devil could use the fact that Muslims agree and don't question anything as a way to make it seem as if they don't question anything because then nothing is corrupted. When they're not questioning anything because they're evil, get it? They're lying. They just don't want to question anything. It's not that they don't. It's not that their brain didn't do what it's created to do like you and mine. It's just that they're not going to tell us the thoughts that come. They're not going to tell us the logical analysis their brain is doing, because thoughts are from the demon. The logical analysis, let's call it that when we're the ones thinking. They're not going to tell you the logical analysis they have. Anyone from all religions, and mainly these two religions. When someone tells them something about their religions, you get me? They're created by God to do what their brain is supposed to do and their heart is supposed to do. You know? What I just told you it should do. They're not going to use that. They're going to ignore it. So because they're ignoring it, they're going to make it seem like they didn't have that quality. And because they didn't want to use it, they're going to make it seem like they didn't use it because that's just how they're created. They're going to act like they didn't have any conflict in their mind with what they're saying outwardly from their mouth. Because it's easy, right? You can't see what their brain did, so they can just lie to you and act like, I swear to God, I didn't disagree with what you just said. I really believe Jesus died for us. I really believe Mahdi is this. I really believe our prophet is a pedophile. They're going to act like what they say is what they... Again, you know right from wrong. I'm just saying, they're going to act like they, as a creation of God, actually truly didn't go against that in their heart and mind. Is that not possible to lie to you about that? It is, because you cannot see their heart and mind. You can only see your heart and mind, and you can connect that to the fact that then they must be lying, because all of us, our hearts and mind are created the same. Whatever you go against as a moral person, their heart also went against it, their mind also went against it. You're just using that to create a greater finale to this whole debate or this whole discussion or this whole fight. That, right? Your view is right and their view is wrong. They're lying. Okay, but can you, in that other way, in that sort of bigger way, can you prove, right, that they're lying against what they feel. No, right? Because you can't see what they feel. You know they're lying. You know they're going against their feelings. Also, you can see it on their facial, right? They're human. They're created by God to not be able to hide from you how they feel when they lie. Because that's God's way of protecting us. Imagine if God didn't create us, if you lie, that it doesn't manifest somehow, right? Some sort of way where you look awkward, you look anxious, you look worried, right? If He didn't create that, then, right, evil humans really could get away with actually making it seem as if they're somehow a different species than us, that they're just created to actually feel comfortable with the evil they like to say is actually good. Right? They could get away with convincing you that they're different than you when they're not. We're a species. We're all created the same. You know? You can only then advocate for yourself. You're going to freak out and think you can't advocate for their group. You're going to think, I don't have the right to at least tell them what's right and wrong. Because they really don't feel anything. No, they do. They can just lie because you can't see their heart and mind. You know, you can just prove it that they are lying because of body language, because of the qualities that you know how a human is created. Like I just told you, we're all created with a heart and a mind that think and feel. So when they say something bad is good, you know they're lying because that is not something that feels good. That is not something that you think is good. Therefore, when they say it's okay to do it, they're lying. You get me? Because it's not okay to do it. And then when they say, but I did it, how is it not something I feel comfortable doing? I just told you I did it, right? They tell you maybe as a female, she allowed her husband to rape her. She allowed her husband to beat her. And she tells you you didn't feel bad. Okay, you get me? This is how you can then defend yourself against this liar. That's impossible. They're only lying because you were not there. That moment that the human was harming them, they were feeling what God created them to feel. You know? Extreme suffering. But to you, they're gonna put on that face that it was not a big deal. So that's why they feel comfortable to lie, demons and humans who are evil. Because only God can see their heart and mind, correct? So they're not gonna lie to God. But they think they can get away with lying to you, their own species or other species, because the species, right, creations don't have the power to just, right, look at your heart the same way you can see a hand or a bag of food. You can just point to it. Oh yeah, there's 3 bags in there. No, there's 10. You can count it. See, humans even lie even when we can all see something. Didn't I just say at least they can do this? Is understandable in the sense that we can't see something, so they think that they can lie. But even in situations where we can see something, they still lie. Do you agree? You can tell a human, this is my seat. And my name is on it. My name is Shelby. And they can see a badge that says Shelby, you know, even more evidence. Because, right, you can lie, your name is Shelby. And they might be like, no, it's not. That's my seat. It says Sarah. What? Or you might be like, there's 3 bags in here. No, it's not. My bag has 7. They can still, that's what the point of evil is. It's evil, get it? It's darkness. That's what it means. Evil, get it? Evil just means it's just bad. Just bad-hearted. So yes, you're lying, and people can prove you're lying because they can actually see there's only 3 bags here. And the fact that you're still confident to still lie to them and say, no, there's 7. See, you know, you don't think you can trick them. You're doing that because you're just bad. So for that reason, there is no solution to human beings lying. If they want to lie, they're gonna lie. You get me? And the devil is gonna then use reverse psychology against what I just told you. He's gonna then make you believe that then I'm telling you we're doomed or something, when righteous people come to help you with morality because they're actually messengers from God again. He wants you to then think I'm saying we're all doomed. We can't ever stop the ones who twist evil and good, what God thinks of it, because I just told you. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we cannot control their free will to lie. That's the way we don't have power. We cannot make someone stop lying because they have free will. It has nothing to do with the fact that they lie because they think they can trick us or they think we don't have evidence. Even if we have knowledge and evidence and we can see with our own eyes, they can still lie, because lying, it doesn't happen because you think people don't know something. Lying happens simply because you're bad, and also because you think they didn't see you maybe. Okay, but when they now have evidence, when they now saw something, you can keep lying because you think it's fun, you think it's psychological torture. You get me? You just want to torture their mind, even though you cannot lie in this situation. There's actually evidence. Okay, if that's what evil means then, and then evil is like a substance, it's like, right, a drug or something. When humans become evil, evil enters their heart, right? Evil is formed by envy, and then it becomes hatred, and now evil, right? All the bad qualities enter you, such as lying. Okay, that human, as long as they're operating from that place and they don't want to be honest and truthful and be the way God created them to be, right? God created them to have a conscience. That conscience is always good and always telling them to be good. If they don't want to, right? They have free will. If they don't want to stop doing that and they just want to keep doing evil, by following that darkness, they don't want to go against it because that's their choice, obviously. Just because it entered their heart doesn't mean they can't operate normally. Okay, you get what I'm saying? We need to use our mind. We need to use the evidence, that person, and the signs that God gives you that tells you these people or this person is from him, and him, you get me? That shows you who. Oh, sorry. We just need to use that, right? Our mind, or our heart, which is logic, right? And our feelings, in the sense that the empathy part of us, not feelings, right? People can act like they feel something they don't. No, empathy, whatever, you get the point. We use our heart and we use our mind, and we use the signs, and we use the evidence, and we use the information and anything else that would then serve as proof that God is giving and showing you when he sends down the future leaders. And that's how you're going to know they're actually from God and they're not lying or hypocrites or whatever. It's not some devil trying to trick you, because God always leaves you some signs. He lets the devil corrupt only some parts of, right, the leaders he chooses, their identity. Immorality is not hard. It's not the same as a leader that you have to figure out who they are. That's hard. But it's not hard to know right from wrong. You're not going to be like, well, this is hard for us too. Why God put us in this? It's not hard, goodness. Evil doesn't feel good. Are you going to say evil is normal to you? What the hell? This is easy. Right versus wrong is really easy. Your conscience knows right from wrong. What the hell? You just have to put... Okay, that one is easy. So that's why God is going to put you in hell, for this one easily, because it's easy for you. You know right from wrong. The only thing you could be corrupted into is details, stories, things that you don't know. You get me? Oh, your prophet was born in this year. Well, you don't know, so anyone can trick you into... But they're not going to tell you your prophet is a man who's a good person, moral, decent, this, that. They have to describe them, right? And then they say, oh yeah, he raped little girls. Now you know they're lying. You get me? Because that, anything to do with right versus wrong, you actually are an expert at that one. An angel doesn't have to come down from God to confirm that for you. You know it's wrong. So there's nothing to worry about. You, as a species, you are equipped with the skills to know when the leaders come down, if they're actually from God. Because when they explain things to you, see, there you go. Your mind is how you're going to find out how to deal with that situation. You have the quality of your mind. You're going to use your mind to judge what they tell you. You're going to use your mind to see, you also know right from wrong, because your mind tells you right from wrong. So God already gave you the skills, the tools, the build-up in your body, in your mind, to do a great job when they arrive, to help you again. You're going to support them. Only the wicked will go against them. Okay, so let me end this episode with, right? When God puts me through all this suffering, right? He obviously cares about me. So you're always going to notice I upload a lot of episodes afterwards when I express some sort of frustration or suffering or painful emotions to you about what God is putting me through, because it was like a season where I was being taught a lot. It was like a peak where I was being given a lot of wisdom, while every day, right, I'm going through this sort of divine, spiritual or divine situations, because every day I'm being taught something. Okay, but then there's a peak, right? A time that God is teaching me something really big. So then there's going to be a lot more suffering or discomfort or stress, etc. Because I'm not sitting there and God is just showing me something, where he's putting me through situations that are bad to teach me things. So as long as God is teaching me more wisdom, it probably meant, not always, but it probably meant I went through more suffering to learn that wisdom. Okay, so then that's why then I'm going to have expression coming from me that is, right, unhappy or sad, when I was actually being taught a lot of wisdom, because it usually meant God put me in a bad situation to teach that. right? Painful situation, etc. It just means I wasn't yay. I wasn't just laughing and stuff. So for that reason, since, right, it means I was learning something when I go through a peak of suffering, then I'm going to upload a lot of episodes all of a sudden because I'm teaching you so much wisdom now because I learned so much wisdom. So then does that not show God's greatness? If he's dumb and weak, what would happen? I go through that peak of suffering. I get frustrated and record an episode. And then I break down and disappear. But then I come back and I'm this positive and happy and I give you so much wisdom. Some of the wisdom is things it's just I explain it to you in a way that you're like, wow, because that's wisdom. You get me? That's not knowledge anymore. You actually understand it now. You can connect it to diverse. See, I didn't say understanding. I didn't say I gave you understanding. Understanding means one subject. Wisdom means broad. So I give you wisdom in the sense that I teach you something, we talk about one subject, but I can connect it to so many things in life. And now it's wisdom because it's connecting almost all areas of life. I don't have to talk about all areas of life. It's just that what I taught you, that concept of wisdom I taught you, right? Concept 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just take that, jot it down like a person listening to me, like right in a classroom or something, someone's sharing information with you, and you can then connect what I taught you to every area in life. That's up to you to keep going and use your mind. Or just stop there and only listen to my episode and be like, I got what you're saying. But if you probably keep going with me, you keep giving yourself more examples that fit that wisdom, right? That concept I shared. Just like a teacher can teach you an equation specific, right? This equation is different than the other equation. It's up to you to keep going, right? And keep going home and creating more examples. And now you're perfect at that. Or just only stick to the examples only the teacher gave. You did the homework, you got an A. Okay, you already know what that means. The humans who were able to connect it to more wisdom, more areas of life, they're going to be more wiser than you guys who just listen to me. You understand me. You're doing a great job. Okay, good job. But if someone listened to me and actually really thought more about it, again, there's no timeline. I'm not telling you to think about it, this, that. Just at least if you gave yourself the chance to think about it more and really connect it to everything that this would affect, right? Our life, everything, laws, governments, gender, everything, God, his identity, you yourself. If you keep going and going and going and connect everything I teach you to everything else in life, well, now you have a broad wisdom. Now if the devil comes one day and tries to argue with you using a possessed human who likes to act smart, right? The evil ones who like to act like the way religion is today is healthy or moral. Now you're going to laugh at this person. You're not going to sit there like that anxious student who's looking at their paper and thinking, oh, you have the right answer. The teacher told you. So just, okay, they said, okay, I'm going to use this equation. You're not going to have that sort of way where you think you have to fight with them like a debate, where you're thinking about what they're saying and you know what you should. You don't necessarily even know sometimes. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. You're not going to be like, I know what to do. They're in that paragraph right now. So I think I'm going to read this paragraph. You're not fighting with them from that unhealthy, weaker place. You're just sitting there chilling, just letting them talk nonsense. It doesn't mean you're laughing at them because that's not a healthy thing to do, right? We don't mock human beings, but I mean the healthy laugh where you just think what they said is crazy. Right? Not to hurt and mock the human because you don't want to become that way if you're coming from a place of morality, obviously. Don't ever develop that quality. The devil can try to push that to you sometimes because he can make it seem like it's moral because they're actually evil. No, don't do that. We come against evil from a very assertive and calm and stern voice. We don't laugh in the sense, right, as if we're somehow trying to, because that's immoral. We don't, evil means trying to put others down. If you're from a place, if you're operating from good, you're not trying to put anybody down. You're just trying to stop right and wrong being mixed together or being given vice versa, their identities, obviously the opposite identities. So you get me? You're going to have that quality where you're going to just have so much wisdom going on in your mind, right? So many defense concepts that you want to share, right? Like defense statement number 1, defense statement number 2, like defense, things you're going to use to defend your side, the moral side, and go against the lies they're saying. As the human is lying, you're not listening to them because that means you actually don't have enough wisdom. So you're scared. You're paying attention to them way too much then, right? You're scared and they might confuse you at some point because demons are possessing them. They can use witchcraft. There you go. But if you heard what I taught you, they use witchcraft. I tell you they're possessed. Now you're going to be smart. If a human who's evil is trying to argue with you because they're not like a normal person. You know they're not a regular person. who, right, technically doesn't have power. You know they're possessed, and you know that means demons are going to use witchcraft to attack you. They're going to use the demons in that human body who have been around ever since Adam and Eve, the things they know to fight with you. You know you're not dealing with the individual only. Again, they're still weak as hell, but you get the point. So then, because you have so much wisdom, right, of all the things that are not visible to you, but they're actually using, right, to come against you, now you're actually well prepared. If you feel like brain fog is coming over you, if you feel like an emotion just came over you, something that feels like an emotion that's making it seem as if you agree with what they just said, and it's actually a very evil thing to agree with. You're like, wait a minute, did this human, some darkness within them just try to make it seem to me that I agree? Whoa. You get me? You're going to never, ever fall into the trap the demon wants you to fall into. It wants you to think you actually agreed with them to some degree. No, you didn't. So you're going to then use all the ways that you connected the wisdom points I shared to connect it to, right, a broader perspective of life, all the other subjects this would ever affect, all areas of life and morality and human experience. You're going to then come up with random examples, right? I'm not specific to examples. When I give you example, I just use simple examples, right? Like you being on this side of the road, you want to get to that side of the road. You need B to get to that side of the road, right? Your legs, you need to walk with it, or a wheelchair. If you don't like that, you need a car, etc. You're going to come up with generic, simple, basic, random, and bigger, stronger examples like that to actually be able to exactly the audience that's listening to them, the third party that's listening to you and this human talking, or it's just the two of you, to increase everyone in understanding that what they're saying is actually not true. You know, because you used examples, you used situations that would show this is not rational, therefore it cannot be moral. Like that, rather than just saying it's wrong. Because I just told you they're liars. That's their quality of lying. They're confident even if you have evidence that they're lying. So you just need to say enough for you to feel confident that you're telling the truth. It's not going to affect you that they want to keep lying. You just want to get to a point where they don't affect you. They don't scare you that God is really sexist and perverted and extremist and unfair and unjust. You just don't want that in your system. You want to be firm that the Lord is good. In any areas then that you're struggling, you're going to do what I told you. You're going to go sit down and think. Use your heart. Observe the creation of God. Animals, pests, humans, not weird, nasty things they do, like you see animals and pests doing perversion. That is demons who can possess them and make them do that. Just as you don't observe perverted humans because you know that's not normal human, to then think then, oh no, if I observe humans, I'm never going to come to the conclusion God is good because there's bad humans in the world. You're not giving me a good system to do this. I am. Just as you know humans have evil in them, and you would never study you would never study the psychology of convicted murderers in a prison to see the nature of a human, correct? You know, if you have to study nature of a human, you have to go to the good normal ones. Same thing. Even if you want to study other parts of God's creation in order to really know the things I say every day on this podcast are true, right? That God is moral, he's good, religion is corrupted. If you want to maybe study other areas of life and not just religion, right? The fact that this verse doesn't make sense, but you want to go broader, you want to actually observe the creation of God, the oceans, the mountains. You want to use that stuff to also sort of observe if God is really good or not. Because, right, the way he created the mountains, how obviously intelligent God is, right? That stuff is, you know, the way he taught human beings to use math to measure them and the way they fought, like those cool things about God also prove he's moral. Like that. If you want to go and observe all areas of creation that God has created to actually connect to the fact that then he is good and moral and religion has to be corrupted, well, then you're going to remember the fact that you don't obviously, when you're using human nature, you don't obviously observe the criminals. Correct? I mean, unless you're dumb, unless you want to be dumb, right? The same thing here then. You're right. Thanks for the idea. I'm going to go see some of the natures of animals and pests too. You get me? You're not going to fall into that trap the devil wants you to fall into. You see the weird behaviors animals and pests do, and you think, well, I'm doomed. I can't prove God is moral and hates perversion because I just saw that pest doing that to that pest. I saw that animal acting as if it looks like he's raping some other animal. I just told you they get possessed, right? So that means then they can do evil. Okay. For that reason, demons are doing that through them to actually confuse you on God's nature. See, do you see how much they fight so hard to make you believe God is evil? They even possess pests and animals to confuse you. Because duh, he created them. If they're doing weird things and they don't have that sort of consciousness at a higher level like a human does, right? They want you to then believe that then whatever they do is their nature. While humans, you know whatever they do is not their nature, because you know there's evil humans and they commit crime and they do bad things to others. So then you don't think everything humans do is their nature. Okay, but demons want you to believe that other species who are lesser than us are not like us, that they don't have evil and good too, and that that's just the way they are, and the way they are is somehow moral and good from God, and therefore if the way they are is normal and good from God, then whatever they do, you have to observe all of it, and all of it has to be what God is comfortable or okay with. That's not true. Evil enters them too. They commit evil too. So for that reason, you're now not going to be scared that you observed animals and pests and other things, and they do weird things. They do evil. Now you're not scared. You get me? Because the same way you're not scared when you see evil humans do bad things, you're not scared that God is bad, because you know evil enters humans. If I now gave you the wisdom that animals and pests are possessed by demons in order to confuse you too, they go this far, now you're going to be like, yo, thank you. That's now what I'm going to use to defend myself when they use animals and pests to justify certain sexism and perversions. Oh, what's the animal's name? That gorilla had 4 females. So actually this is connected to Islam, but you're going to laugh now. You're going to laugh. God created us in pairs. Pair means just 2. So we don't know what the hell's wrong with those gorillas, okay? That's not God's nature for a male and multiple females. No, it's just one male, one female, and unrelated. And not creepy, not one too old, not one too young. They're possessing animals and doing weird things within them. They want you to think, because they're not like you and I who have a normal, healthy brain that's very conscious. They want you to think because they're not like that, that then whatever they do, they just do it because it's just their innate thing. Well, you know whatever humans do is not their innate thing. They can go against their innate thing and do something bad. Okay, so they want you to think that animals don't have that quality. That's why every day God makes demons possess birds, pests, raccoons, dogs. They always cats. I'm just in a civilized environment. I'm not going to see the bigger animals. But now I understand those creepy, weird documentary things that I've never seen. That, just so you know, that's filthy and nasty. I don't look at weird things. I'm just saying. People tell me, right? People tell me that they've seen weird things that animals do. Exactly. Demons are possessing them and doing that through them. And here's how you know God is trying to use me to guide you all. When God allows demons to possess animals to harass me, the animal always does something nasty or perverted. I swear by God's name. God is using every species in every situation that demons have used and possessed around my life, which is, I told you guys, like 30 years. That's a long example. God has like 30 years of my life to give you evidence he's not crazy. He's not perverted and evil. That's a long set of examples for you guys, because humans don't want 1 or 2, right? They want to feel confident. 30 years of my life, every situation I've seen, is God doing it himself to prove to you who he is. You guys have enough evidence and examples for me once I, inshallah, tell you my testimony. And you're not going to be like, but we didn't see you. I'm in the United States. You can all find evidence of the schools I went to, the jobs I went to, the ways I was harassed, the ways they lied about me, the way they put me in jail and accused me of things I didn't do, the way in CCTV cameras, even right now, this moment, one day you could probably find me, the way I'm sitting in a public place where there's a camera above me, unless it's manipulated, you're going to see all the humans, animals, and pests, what they were doing around me, right? If one day God gives me that, quality of having, right, the ability to collect these videos from all these places that I was in a public environment, and that's why God lets them do that in a public environment. It's not some private corner where there's no camera that he lets a demon bring a human or animal, because God wants you guys to actually find it, one day. So it's usually in healthy, nice, big public places that they bring animals and pests and humans who are possessed. You're all going to find it if you just use the CCTV. And you're going to see it. A random dog just keeps coming towards my environment, but he's acting covert. It's like a person. He wants me to put my guard down and not think, that he's a threat or whatever. If I put my guard down, he runs behind me. Well, that's not a normal dog. A normal dog wants you to pet them and say hi and stuff, right? That moment, they're possessed. And that moment, okay, evil is in them and they're just going to act evil. Okay, well then you're going to see what, every time they did that, what did they make the animals do around me? They always stop and pee, and then they stop and pee, and then they stop and pee, and then they stop. No. Not a normal animal just peeing. I just told you the environment doesn't even fit sometimes where they're trying. I'm saying it's not a normal situation where they're just peeing. You get me? They just keep peeing. But guess when they do it? When I look at them. Why would an animal like a dog, every time I look at them, they pee? You get me? Why is it connected to when I look at it? Why doesn't it just pee when it just needs to pee? In that grass over there. Because it's harassing me, get it? It's harassing me if I look at it. Their demon is harassing me with perversion. It's peeing. And it doesn't pee the way you expect it to. They also expose their butt when they want to pee. That's not a normal dog. So for that reason, and again, there you go. People can say that's a coincidence. It happens for years. Then you guys have to believe. I told you God is going to make it easy for you to believe. This happens every day, everywhere I go. The same behavior repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. So God makes demons, when they persecute me, what they do, he makes them repeat the behavior. That's why it becomes predictable. Not randomly because they just like to repeat it. They would love to be ambiguous. God makes them repeat it. He basically allowed them to persecute you in a way that the repeating, right, is used as a way one day for the human race to know this is intentional, right? Because what do they say? What do evil humans say when we tell them something is wrong or right or whatever? They always like to act like the evidence maybe you gave is coincidence. Okay, God knows that. God, he created evil. He knows that quality is going to come out of those who are operating from evil one day, right? So he's going to then, because he created evil, it doesn't mean he cares what these humans think. It doesn't mean God is dumb and trying to make evil humans believe in something, and he doesn't think he gave enough evidence and he's sort of submissive to the no. He created evil. Evil is operating within them. It's not them, right? It's just evil. It's just evil what it does if it enters you. Okay, so he knows what he created. He knows the psychology of evil. So he knows then the opposite, what is needed to combat that. He makes the persecution, whatever humans, the animals and pests who are possessed do around me, always the same. So that you guys know it's intentional. And then you're like, wait a minute, you're right. When they possess people and when they possess humans, they're always doing perversion around you. Nasty things around you. Dirty things around you. Why is it always perversion? Why are animals acting perverted and indecent around her? Oh my God! That is a possessed animal, a possessed human, and the demons are being made to always expose those qualities first. Because that is God saying those qualities in his religion are from demons and not from God saying it's okay to do so. You get me? It's the areas that you and I would say today, if God was actually good, he has to get rid of first. Perversion and sexism. So whoever is possessed whoever demon is possessed to do persecution around me, whether it's a human or animal, because pest is probably going to they just try to bite me and bother me. They do other things usually, but the pest, right, and the animal, oh goodness, the human and the animal, right, lower consciousness, but still, right, consciousness enough, right, versus a pest that you could observe. So they're so tiny and stuff. Okay, but the animal, we would observe them too, just like the human. They're always doing perverted, indecent, weird, nasty things around me. Why don't they just do something else? So that's God saying, since those are demons, and since I'm teaching her the quality of demons and the quality, therefore, of evil, right? And that humans who are evil are like this too. They're indecent, they're dirty, they're nasty, they're inappropriate, they like dirty things, they expose themselves, they like bathrooms, they have no shame, they can expose their private parts. Therefore, I'm showing her this stuff is the psychology of evil and the psychology of demons, because they're evil. And this is what they teach and spread in the human race. Her life is a testimony that's therefore the psychology of evil and demons, for you guys to also know that, the human race, so that then you see, right, that I put her through that to expose that those qualities are not from me, but they're actually from the devil who, right, I allowed to corrupt those parts of my religion. So if I'm going to get rid of the lies, I created this persecution or this power where demons are allowed to persecute her, in a sense, to always show her the qualities of the devil. Truly, point blank, when you observe him, he's a pervert, he's nasty, he's dirty. You know, he likes to twist and lie and manipulate things. Therefore, those qualities are from him. If you ever observe it anywhere in this earth, whether you observe it in animals, humans, or pests, or demons, it's not something I'm okay with as a God. That's what he's saying to you. So yeah, I'll just end it with this. Basically, that's God's way of showing you, the human race, that your Lord is not the author of the perversions and the sexisms and anything indecent and strange and that goes against nature. Nature really just means love. Everything operates in love, and everything operates also in pairs, the other sort of quality of nature. Anything that goes against that, the things you all as humans know innately has to be normal, anything that goes against that, God is just showing you that it's not from him. When his religion is used to spread that, or maybe some other ways that humans like to at least say, things have to be this way, everyone is who we are, blah, blah, blah. Because I actually observed an animal do this yesterday, therefore, you know, we're like animals, and now you know how to fight that lie. You know, you're not an animal, so their nature is not your nature, just so you know. So that's not going to be then an argument they can use against you. You're higher in your creation from animals. You're better than them. So no, their lowliness cannot be attributed to you. And two, the areas that is, you know, important for them to also be decent, otherwise it would be dirty for God to do that for their creation as well. It is decent and healthy too for them. It's just that the areas then you're like, but I don't see that. I see animals doing things I believe they shouldn't do. Otherwise God would be weird, you know, because for us he calls that murder, rape, this, that. They don't do it either. God is not creating them that way either. Demons are possessing them. So that's why the persecution involves animals and pests being used by demons to harass me. They don't just use humans, because exactly, God is accused of being dirty and strange and bad and violent. Usually the first quality is sexism. They always accuse him of, right, telling the male or creating the male, even if he doesn't tell him, to just sort of be violent or filthy or weird or bad to a female, right? Okay. So even if they don't connect that to religion, they still connect that to nature, right? They just say that's the nature of animals. So even if we're not supposed to be like that, who cares? God still put that in an animal, in some other species over there. Therefore, you can't really say he hates that quality. He just hates it in you and I as a human. But he doesn't think animals can rape each. Okay, so God has to make demons possess animals to bother me, to show me that when their nature is also strange in terms of how they behave, it's also not how God created them, but a demon possessing them to do that, to confuse the human race as to what animals are created to be. They're not created to be that way, just like you're not. Just as you can be evil, it just means it's the same situation for them this moment. A demon possessed them and they were made to do evil too. But just like you would expect, they're created to know that's wrong. But the animal has consciousness. When they do dirty things around me, or I talk to them and I say, stop, what are you doing? Go! I always talk to them like that. But they're really possessed. I want to talk to them like that, where they can sort of pay attention. I don't know. I talk to them in many ways. Duh, you guys all know if you have pets also. They listen, they pay attention, they're like, okay. Come on, so they have to have consciousness too, to know right from wrong in the way God created them too. When we say that they're just less than you in their mind, all that means is your mind is just created better and greater and stronger than theirs. But the basic, right, what you and I would say is basic consciousness to at least know bad from good and filth from normal and pure, they have that. So when they're going against it, just so you know, the animal is bad in that sense. They just, right, probably not going to go to hell or anything. We don't know. That's not what we know from God. I just don't want you to think, you get me, that all animals are the same. They're not, right? That's what I'm saying. Since it's consciousness they have, and what the conduct they're being possessed to do is bad, why does it matter if you're a human or a species that's lower than a human? As long as what you're doing is immoral, if a human did it, you also have to be created by God to know that's bad for you too, correct? Okay, so animals are therefore, in that sense, sinning. They're doing bad, okay, and they know that too, because God has to be fair to them. They know it. So just the same way a human agrees to do evil when they know it's wrong, it's the same way animals are agreeing to do evil when they know it's wrong. You're not going to be like, well, how can they do it if they know it's wrong? Well, the same way you do bad and you know it's wrong. What the hell's wrong with you? It's a choice. So for that reason, the animals who don't do that, they exist. So please don't believe that animals can't choose good or evil. They can. There are animals who would never do something bad, who would never hurt anybody. You try to touch their private parts or do something filthy to them as a perverted human, they're not going to let you. And some will. So they're just like the human in terms of this evil versus good area. They also have that basic consciousness that, right, makes you see something filthy as filthy. And they're just going to fight with you. They're going to never do it. They're just going to roam around, just surviving, just eating when they can, sleeping in the grass when they can, you know, meowing at you as a cat if they want some water. They're going to be exactly what you think they should be, very pure and sweet, but just lowlier than us, right? They're not going to clothe themselves like that. So even if God creates a species lowlier than us, it's never going to go against what you and I would say would make them pure versus filthy. He always preserves that part. Okay, so they're naked. They don't have clothes on. But do you ever look at them and think it's dirty? No, because how did he create them? In a way that you don't think they're naked, right? It's not the same as a female or male being naked. So he is very powerful, and he is very moral, because even if he created them with a quality that we would not have, because for us it's indecent or immoral, you're not going to use that to justify that God is therefore indecent or immoral to another species. No, in terms of how he created them, because if you observe them, when they're allowed to do that, something you and I are not allowed to do because for us it's filthy, they're created in a way that when they do it, it's still moral. They have fur that is protecting them. They don't look naked the way that a human looks naked. Okay, so he's powerful. He creates them in a way that they just don't need clothes. Rather than he created them in a way that they need clothes, but he just says it is not needed. No, look at my words. He creates them in a way that they don't need clothes. So we could have also been created in a way that it's not indecent for us to be naked, because he could have created us in a way that we don't need, keyword need, to be clothed. But we need to, because the way the body was designed, it's in a way that then we need to be clothed. You see, God is not random. He doesn't just say, you're not going to do this and you're going to do that. No, he creates a reason why you have to do it. You see? So that's a God then that what? If you think now, what does he look like? He has a mind. God has a mind then. So if you ever were to see him in the next life, you can actually converse with him. You can talk to him and actually understand him, because he's not crazy. He doesn't just do A and just do G the next day. He actually has reason. So anytime then they're justifying something evil to you and they're saying it's from God, there's no way they can justify it, because exactly, they don't have reason that's pure. They know, they're lying to you then. So yes, the devil can use reverse psychology and possess bad humans and come to us and be like, everything you say about God cannot be the same, because if we observe animals, they're indecent. They don't wear clothes. God doesn't think that's immoral. But if we take our clothes off, that's immoral. Therefore, it's okay if he thinks a male should have 4 females to himself and call it a wife. Because he's not really like that. He can just sort of do what he wants. This situation is the same too. Maybe for this species, he thinks it's okay for the male to dominate the female in this weird way. He cannot use reverse psychology against us like that. These bad people who are possessed by demons in religion or any other way. Because they can't find a reason for you. I found a reason for you. Animals are created in a way you don't think they're naked or dirty. They have fur. Their body is created in a way that they are clothed in your mind. And two, their private part is created in a way that it is covered by their fur and by their tails. What the hell? You're standing up. Your private parts are facing people. See? So then there's a reason why he tells you to clothe yourself. See? God is giving reasons. The reason is your way. It's B. To get to see that he's moral when people fight with you that he's not, and use other species who are lowlier than us as a justification for saying then he's not as pure in this area as people hope he is. No. The areas where we agree other species are lowlier than us, like animals, we can easily separate that as being used as a way to justify areas that don't fit, right? They might use the fact that God allows animals to not be clothed to then justify the fact that some type of sexism towards females is okay in the human species. Because they say, right, that situation is not decent, but God allows it. Therefore, this is the same too. It's not decent for a male to treat a female that way, but God did it, and we just have to... They cannot connect things like that. You get me? You don't have to be scared how they like to connect things like that. The areas that you would say is filth as hell for a God to tell any species to do, animal or human, such as one male having more than one female, that's the area he doesn't allow the devil to confuse you. Because he needs you to have something to get to the end goal, to actually know deep down he's good God. If he didn't help you, how can he expect you to then, right, fight lies? You do know, because God always said he created things in pairs. If you observe his creation, like I said, right, I told you to observe God's creation. And to obviously to remember that then demons possess parts of his creation, can manipulate things. But that the most important parts of his creation you would want to be intact, right, for demons to not have the ability to control what is right in front of you. They cannot manipulate that part, such as the fact that everything is always in pairs. And it's always male and female. You're never going to see two males and two females. So God is protecting you when the devil lies. Okay, so then now the 4-wife nonsense, or having all these other females to yourself as a male, or cheating on your spouse, all that nonsense, you know, it's nonsense, because that's a really important area of morality versus immorality, right? We really need God to give us some way to protect ourselves from this situation if someone lied about it. We need him to really not believe in that a female should be treated like that, or that a male should even harm himself by being perverted like that to so many of them, you know? And there you go. He's not like that. But areas that then they're gonna then tell you he doesn't think it's okay for humans, like humans should be clothed, but animals are not. See, it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't affect you and I when we see a dog and a cat with their fur. So you see, the areas that God actually created other species to be sort of less decent than us are areas that don't hurt morality. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt you. And then the devil likes to use something small like that is not going to make God bad if he actually made animals not clothe themselves, but it would make him bad if he told you and I to be naked. They're not going to be able to use that small situation. That does not make him bad. But we would agree, right? Technically it's not indecent for animals to be naked in that sense. But is it indecent if we observe them? No. Okay, so something small like that, just compared to us, it would be indecent if we were like that. So you're not going to see that situation, that small situation, that does not make God indecent. You're not going to see that being used in a situation that is highly indecent and filthy if he was to be okay with humans doing it. Which is for them to be sexist the way that Islam and Christianity tells you to be as a male to a female. To harm her, objectify her, that's extreme indecency. So then, you know he's not like that. So when the liar likes to argue with you by using the small example of an animal being indecent to then say, well, then God doesn't mind, right? If they're indecent in other ways, or he doesn't mind if humans are indecent in other ways, you're going to observe they don't connect. They're using something tiny that does not make animals indecent to connect to something that makes humans extremely evil and filth and indecent if they were to do it. It doesn't connect the examples they like to give because they're lying. Okay, there's wind right now and like a storm coming, so I'm just gonna go inside. Oh, goodness, it's raining.